I would like to show you something really interesting, or at least interesting to me. So what you see here, this tiny little house, is probably the oldest border post of modern Bulgaria. And so before I speak about it, I would like to point out a couple of small facts, which I might be wrong about everything because I'm not a historian and I forgot my own history. So I think, I'm pretty sure, I'm not completely sure, of course, modern Bulgaria came to existence in 1878, so they gained independence from the Ottomans, and they only got parts of what they claimed to be theirs. And in 1881, I think, after the Berlin Conference, they got more territories called Eastern Rumelia, when, you know, in Berlin they decided to draw the borders, and then, yeah, Bulgaria gained more territories with ethnic Bulgarians. But yeah, this post was actually a border post, and the border police was stationed here. And it's not a border post from the Second World War, when Bulgaria also had all of these territories taken from Serbia. Yeah, it's from 1879, as far as I know, which makes it probably the oldest Bulgarian border post that is still standing. And back then this was probably Bulgarian land, and this was probably Ottoman land still, because I think that Serbia back then didn't have these territories. Long ago, Serbia actually was, when they gained independence, around that time as well. They were mostly around Belgrade, like that was the Serbia back then, called Beogradski Pašaluk. And later, yeah, they gained more territories, especially after the Balkan Wars, and after the Second Balkan War, which I think Bulgaria lost. And yeah, I think also in the First World War, I'm not completely sure. And yeah, then later in the Second World War, Bulgaria, since it was an ally of Hitler, even though it was neutral, they claimed, they agreed to take all of these territories back, because Bulgarians claimed it's theirs and it belonged to them, and it's they're ethnic Bulgarians here. Actually, which is true, because in these areas, people 100 years later still say, 90% of them still say that they're Bulgarians. So anyways, I'm 100% sure this was Bulgarian border post. The exact date when it was built was approximately 1879. A koliko je staro tamo dole ona kuća?
To je za vreme tursko pravljeno.
Za vreme Turaka je pravljeno?
Da, i to nema, ja ne pamtim kaj je pravljeno.
Za vreme i tvog dede možda? Znači to je bilo pre Bugarske što je postojalo?
Da, pre Bugarske.
I'm still not completely sure, but it's definitely not after the Balkan Wars, or after the second, or during the Second World War, when Bulgaria had these territories again, because the borders were different. And yeah, it's still here, still standing. And also this type of architecture, as you can see, I mean, this house is not that different. That's my house. It was built a lot later, but people didn't have materials, so they were building the houses with, basically with ground or soil, however you call it, wood. And of course the roofs are properly built, but back then they couldn't build such roofs, so they were building them like that. And they were building in these areas such roofs and such houses up until the late 19th century, latest maybe earliest 20th century, like up to the 1910, 1920. Anyways, I would like to show you what there is inside. So the reason why this think is still there is because my family, or at least my dad in particular, really liked it, and when they came here, it was still here, even though it was empty, and they decided to claim it as theirs and to use it as storage, and yeah, they tried to preserve it as much as they could, even though they basically did nothing to that. They changed nothing. Maybe they were fixing the roof from time to time, but I think they were not. I think the roof is still the original one, because many people these days, and even back then when my father was a young person, they didn't really know how to build these anymore, because they had that and they were building them like that. So it's a special kind of I don't know, like wheat or whatever, which needs to be dried and then maybe even processed somehow, and then when you build it, it needs to be built in a particular way so it doesn't collect water and water doesn't go down. So that's why this stands here, and I think, and I'm pretty sure, this is the only basically building like that is still standing. And yeah, as you can see, sadly, since no one has been taking care of it for decades, the roof started to fall apart, and now you can see even that this building starts to kind of crumble, and it's kind of sad, but it's impressive. This building is probably around 140 years old, maybe even more, and I don't think there would be anything related to the border police or the border or any tools or elements, but who knows, maybe there is still something that is standing there and my father preserved. I haven't been inside since I was quite young, maybe like 10. I mean, I'm not that old now, but I'm still quite old. And I have two keys here, which I would like to try and see which one works. I'm quite curious because I think most of the stuff there are just gonna be our junk, but maybe it's this one. But yeah, maybe there is something interesting to see. And yeah, look at all of this mess. So yeah, and another thing before I open is when my father came here, I don't know, maybe in the 60s, early 60s, and they started building their house. He told me that down there he found a tree. We can actually go there. So somewhere here, he said, when they arrived, he said that they found a big tree full of bullets. So people from up there have been, like, probably from the window, have been using their rifles to practice and to train, and the whole tree was basically gonna fall apart, or maybe even fell apart, because it was full of bullets. So I don't know what they did with that, but of course it was garbage. Now it would be like something really important, but back then people didn't really care and it was irrelevant. So yeah, that's another thing confirming that actually it was a border post. And yeah, let's go and see what's inside. It's crazy. I would like to preserve that. Just when I opened it, my camera turned off, so I had to go back and take another battery. And yeah, sadly I opened it and I saw that it's quite dark, so I took a lamp. Yeah, there might be interesting stuff. Let's see. I don't know what this is. Yeah, this is definitely ours. Now this might probably be theirs. Who knows? This is an old... Oh, that's so heavy. An old iron